What's up, guys? Reformed Stoic here. So I just drank a Coca-Cola. I'm going for it, pulling an actual all-nighter, real all-nighter. So I'm a little bit hyped up. Hopefully I have enough energy to articulate myself. Hyped up from the Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, not code word for cocaine, like just soda, caffeine. Anyway, this is going to be my top three most rewatchable movies. And I got a decent sized DVD collection, and I was kind of surprised looking through it. Like, there's only three. So, what we're going to do is I got a big stack of runner up movies, and I'm going to go over why each of these movies didn't make it to the top most rewatchable. And then once we get to the top three, we're going to start going over like what it is that makes a movie rewatchable. So I guess Crinkles is going to host it with us. So let's go ahead and get it started. Hopefully I've explained enough. Runners up. First runners up. We got two of them on a DVD pack. So the ones that made the cut are Fast Times at Ridgemount High and Dazed and Confused. Very similar movies. Fast Times at Ridgemount High, probably it's hard to pick which one would be the better of the two. You see, I feel like it's the relationship crap in Fast Times that kind of ruins it for me, which maybe makes Dazed and Confused above it. But I think the funny moments in Fast Times are funnier than Dazed and Confused. It's all about Sean Penn. A funny moment is when the teacher, Mr. Hand, is asking him, why are you always late? Why do you always do truancy? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. I like that. And he writes it on the board, and he's like, you know what I'm going to do, Mr. Spicoli? I'm going to leave this up for all the other students to see. And then it's not what Sean Penn says, it's how he says it. He's like, all right. Like he's inspired by that. Like it's completely beyond him that he's trying to talk down to him, and then Dazed and Confused. Matthew McConaughey. I keep getting older. They stay the same age. I mean, I don't know. You guys have probably seen these movies. Why are they rewatchable? Just I used to have a big folder full of like. Just movies that I thought were rewatchable, basically. And when I'd be coming home, like, drunk, sneaking back in from parties and stuff, I'd just throw on a movie and go to bed. And Fast Times, Ridgemount High, Dazed and Confused would definitely be high up on that list. Probably not much more to say about Time to Keep Going. They're just feel-good movies. What made it so they didn't make it to the top? Because they're high school movies. I'm over high school. When I was in high school, when I was in my young 20s, I would put these on my most rewatchable. But I've already seen both of them like a trillion bajillion times. I could probably watch them like, every 3 to 6 months. But for these top three movies that I picked, they're movies that I could watch like once a week all the time. I don't watch them that much, but I think I might bang out all three of them today and try to help me get through this overnight. So hopefully I spent enough time. Fast Times at Ridgemount High, Dazed and Confused. Let's move on. We got a decent little stack here. So this movie goes right along with those movies. I think this was like more of a straight to video. This is definitely not as popular. The Stoned Age. If you guys haven't seen this, you gotta see this. Same kind of deal. It's a high school movie. I think this is like low-key better. This is probably better than Dazed and Confused, in my opinion. Just so many quotable lines, man. The way they talk about chicks. Those are our chicks, bro. Those are our chicks. We saw them first. Just because they see them, they're their chicks. And something is so genius about this movie. It ends up, this party has like two women at it. They're talking about these two women that they saw, and then there's like 15 guys trying to break into a house, and those are our chicks, and just absolutely ridiculous. The line about Blue Oyster Cult and Don't Fear the Reaper. Every band has one pussy song to weed out who the losers are, but he says something else, obviously. Just funny. This is just really funny, smart. I'd say what makes this not as rewatchable, this guy is like a Chad, and he cucks this guy. This is actually like a really early, like, friend zone incel kind of a movie. Like, this guy can't pull the trigger, and he gets cucked around every corner. And it, it makes it like a little bit hard to watch, I guess, but I enjoy it more every time I watch it. This one's good for like every, 3 to 6 months. Not quite top 3 caliber. And when I looked through all my DVDs, I was really shocked. It's like, wow, there's just these 3 movies that are just so many levels above everything else. Okay. Sling Blade. Now, this is probably a good time to mention that most rewatchable isn't necessarily my favorite, but I have a long history. Let me go over my history of rewatching stuff. When I was a kid, I would watch The Great Mouse Detective all the time. I watched 101 Dalmatians all the time. I would like rewatch these cartoons and I'd memorize all the words. My family took a trip to Mexico. There was like a bunch of DVDs there. One of them was Liar Liar, Jim Carrey. I have that on DVD. I watched that like every day when we were in Mexico. Couldn't get enough of it. I have a long history of rewatching stuff. So the movies that I find most rewatchable tend to kind of be my favorite movies. But this, Sling Blade, might be my favorite movie. Now, why is it not top rewatchable? Because it's too serious. It's just a very serious, and that's kind of a pattern in some of these other DVDs that are runners-up. It's just like, if you haven't seen this, you gotta see it. It's beautiful, it's touching. I'm trying not to, like, give spoilers, but Billy Bob Thornton's a genius. He wrote this. I'm pretty sure he, like, directed it, too. This is, like, his brainchild. It started as a short film. I like the way you talk. I want some of them French fried potatoes. The Bible says that a man ought not to lie with another man. But I reckon the good Lord wouldn't send no one like you to Hades. This is like one of my favorite movies. It's just too serious. It's just too powerful to want to rewatch it all the time. I've already seen this a ton of times. It's probably good for once a year. Too good to be rewatchable. Okay, this one, About a Boy, Hugh Grant. Now, you might be thinking, what? This is like a rom-com. Hugh Grant, people probably have him labeled as a rom-com guy, and he is. I actually have a lot of Hugh Grant movies in my collection. I got Love Actually. That's Taylor Swift's favorite movie. I kind of always fantasized about maybe me and Taylor Swift having a date night, throwing on Love Actually. But this is my favorite Hugh Grant movie. And here's kind of my thesis, my theory about this is he's a single guy who's basically a NEET. He inherited a bunch of money, and he comes up with this genius plot to sleep with a bunch of single mothers because, they're wild in bed, and then they break off the relationship, and it's guilt-free. So this is like a rom-com. This is like a woman chick flick rom-com, but it's about like a MGTOW NEET who just sleeps with a bunch of single mothers. I think it's like kind of genius that because he's just Hugh Grant. He's just this charming Englishman. And so women just eat this stuff up, but it's like, dude, this is actually kind of like a based movie. This is like some MGTOW stuff. So it's funny, it's charming. Why is it not like most rewatchable? It's a love story. It's a rom-com. Romance tends to ruin movies, in my opinion. I wish there was less romance in movies. I love it when writers, directors have the balls to like not end everything with a guy getting the girl or some romance. But There's actually like an attempted suicide in this movie, a couple of kind of like buzzkill things. It's just a little bit too serious. And then, another element is like, we'll get to that once I get to the top 3. There's a very particular kind of movie, a very particular flow in a movie that makes it rewatchable. So, love it. One of my favorite movies. Every 6 months to a year. Okay. This is another one that's like, just because it's not the most rewatchable, this is one of my favorite movies. This is right up there with Sling Blade. Royal Tenenbaums. Now this director, writer, what's his name? This is one of those things where probably being tired, pulling an all-nighter is making me brain fart. Really, they're not going to put his name. Wes Anderson. Yeah, Wes Anderson. I'm not really like into any other Wes Anderson movies. I thought I would be. I got the one about the boy student. Look at all these brain farts right now. This is painful. I bought that one on DVD. Oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Unbelievable. You know what I'm talking about. You look it up. I thought I was going to really like that movie, Rushmore. I bought it on DVD assuming I was going to love it, and I just think it's kind of like pretentious and boring. I mean, I'm not going to start like crapping on Wes Anderson films. The one about like the hotel, it was fun, some of his other movies are fun, but this is the one for me. I'm not especially crazy about Wes Anderson. This is just really good family movie, touching family story, super like star-studded cast. You got Ben Stiller, you got Ben Stiller and Luke Wilson. Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller are in a lot of movies together. They're in Zoolander together. Man, Zoolander, that probably could have made one of my most rewatchable. At least could have made the runners up, but I saw that a lot when I was younger. Actually, my family liked to watch that a lot. Just super powerful cast. Bill Murray. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else, but Bill Murray, he might pop up on the list somewhere really special on the list. Just great movie. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. Gene Hackman. My dad says that Gene Hackman is his favorite actor. At least that's what he said years ago. Why is it not most rewatchable? Too serious, too good, too just like, the story is so specific and it's too much. It's not chill enough. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny movie. There's an attempted suicide in here, so, serious elements. We'll get to what makes a movie rewatchable once we only got 2 more on this runners up. So Jim Carrey, Truman Show. And you know what? I didn't put these DVDs in any sort of an order, but it's interesting that this made it to like one of the last ones on the runners up, because this could just about be, it could be like top 4 and this could be with the other ones. But I've just seen it too many times. I just have really worn this out. I'm trying not to wear out these other ones that are on the top 3, but one of them just doesn't wear out. I'll tell you that much. I mean, you've probably heard of this already. His Life is a TV show. Yeah, I'm not going to go into like why I relate to this movie specifically, but a lot of you who watch my channel probably know, and it's just a really interesting concept for a movie. I don't know what else there is to say, bro. Truman Show. You've probably seen it. You probably know it. Truman Show. It's not with the others because I think I've just seen it too many times. And this is kind of a weird one, but basically, this is like the most rewatchable documentary. Bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah, I decided to go ahead and get it on DVD. Because there's just something cozy about this, man. There's like a lot of clips of different sports, some funny interviews, lots of like pro wrestling footage. The guy who films this and directs it, he's got like a bunch of brothers, and they're all into powerlifting and stuff. And this is just really entertaining, you know. Most documentaries I probably only have seen once or twice. I think I've seen Bowling for Columbine like a few times. Yeah, I've seen this like 4 or 5 times, man. This is like, you know, for a documentary, it's not like I'm going to want to watch this all the time, but I could probably watch this like once a year, maybe even once every 6 months. It's probably the most rewatchable documentary. Okay, here we go, guys. Top 3 most rewatchable movies. Like I said, I got a big DVD collection and I was eyeballing it. And the original idea for the video was just most rewatchable movies. I wasn't gonna have runners up, but I was like, really? There's only 3 that are on this category? And like I said, I've always been into rewatching movies, but I had this long period of time in my early 20s where I didn't really watch new stuff that came out. I guess it was just kind of like being an edgelord, you know. I was all into death metal and stuff, and I just thought, I was like, oh, TV and movies aren't good anymore. I've been watching some shows. Like these last couple of years, I've been watching a bunch of shows that I haven't seen. It really started when I watched Breaking Bad for the first time in 2020. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of good shows out there that I haven't seen. Started watching movies and shows I haven't seen, so less time to rewatch stuff. I'm a little bit more picky about what I want to rewatch. And I like these kind of movies that you can just throw on like anytime, like a good background movie. So once I start dissecting these movies, let's go ahead and start with, Bill Murray, Lost in Translation. So I've just recently realized how rewatchable this movie is. The last time I watched this, I went ahead and watched it. It was either the very next day or the day after, because I was like, wow, that went down smooth. So what is it about this movie that's rewatchable? Well, and then what makes movies rewatchable? It can't be like beginning and end. Like the beginning and end shouldn't look like this, because that makes it too like specific and memorable. And it's like you're going on this epic journey, and you don't want to take that same epic journey over and over and over again. You know, it's like, you're going to climb the same mountain every day. That's kind of lame. It's kind of just like, you know, things are just like happening the whole time, but it doesn't really like build up to anything. It does. Let me kind of give you my analysis. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but... And people say they can't relate to these characters. I've heard people like trash this movie in a number of different ways. We'll get to that. It's like Bill Murray is a celebrity in the movie and in real life. He's like a film star, and he's starting to do commercials. So he's not washed up, but he's not doing movies anymore. Now he's doing commercials. And it seems like part of his life is like he travels to have an affair. You know, he's been married for years and years and years. So he's in kind of just his mundane routine. He's going to Japan to have an affair, and he comes across Scarlett Johansson. And kind of the way the movie plays out is like he decides to, spoiler alert, have an affair with somebody else. He just meets this bar singer, and he ends up banging her, and Scarlett kind of is like, what the hell? Because I think the message of the story is like, they hit it off too much. She was too special to just be a girl that you boink, to have an affair with your wife. And I think there's something kind of like deep about that, like how romance goes deeper than sex, and chemistry and clicking goes deeper than just having sex. And I was thinking about this before I filmed this, is like, if it was the other way around, like he really wanted to have sex with her, but she got with another guy, that's not a movie. Like that, you're just, congratulations, you're a spurg incel loser. Like, you're the biggest beta in the world. But when they both had this chemistry and like each other. I mean, dude, any guy would want to get with Scarlett Johansson. He just gets with somebody else because it's like they click too much. There would be love there. If they slept together, it would be like, okay, well, now I'm thinking about leaving my wife, or now I'm going to be in this regular thing. So that's kind of like my analysis of the plot. Why is it rewatchable? Smoking cigarettes at the bar, drinking scotch, funny little stuff in Japan. Some people say this movie's racist. I got nothing. I'm not going to sit here. You deal with that, Bill Murray. That is not my battle to fight. All I'll say is, like, fun is just about to be illegal. Hurry up and have fun. Hurry up and have fun before it's illegal. It's like an alien world to them, you know? There's all this, like, technology. He, like, almost gets injured on, like, an electronic elliptical bike, and just the shower is too short, and he's, like, struggling with all this technology. And people say the characters are unrelatable because it's like, he's rich, and she's this spoiled snob college chick. Like, she went to Cambridge, or she went to some good school. It's like, I don't get it. Like, they're successful people, and they're depressed. Well, life can be like that sometimes, you know? And this is just part of his mundane routine to go try to have an affair. I think this is a clever movie. I think this is smart. Just lots of witty banter. It's low-key. It makes you want to smoke cigarettes, so be careful. All of these top 3 movies, lots of cigarette smoking going on. I've joked about that before. I said I wanted to make a movie where I have no idea what it's going to be about going into it. It's just black and white, and then I chain smoke cigarettes. Like, boom. That's like, it could be an Oscar. It could be an Oscar winner. I feel like we're about out of time here for this one. It's just chilling. They're just chilling in Japan. Cool scenery. They go into an arcade, and it's just good scenery, good vibes, low key, a good message. And then, you know, the ending, I won't spoil the ending, but it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what happened in this universe after everything ended up. So, top 3 most rewatchable movies ever. I could watch this like every week. I don't watch the same movies that much, but I could pop this in at any time, dude. If somebody's hanging out. Have you ever seen Lost in Translation? Nope. Let's watch it right now. Boom. A lot of people might think that movie's boring. Okay. This is probably the one, because these aren't really in order. This is probably like the most rewatchable movie that I put out blunts on. But hey, you know what? That just kind of swags it up. Reality Bites, 1994. Oh man, where do I even begin? Winona Ryder, something about Winona Ryder. Something about her. Ben Stiller, this is Ben Stiller at his best. I'm not like a huge Ethan Hawke fan. I mean, whatever. I can't think of that many movies that he's in. Like, I don't know, Training Day. I guess that was all right. This movie is just... I'm surprised by how rewatchable this is. So it's relatable. It's like... It's a bunch of Gen Xers graduating from university in 1994. And it starts out... This guy is bumming around, and he's relatable if you're like a philosopher guy. You know, they're saying he has like 180 IQ in the movie, which sounds kind of insane. But he's working a bunch of like shit minimum wage jobs. He keeps losing his jobs. He's couch surfing at Winona Ryder's place with her girlfriend Rumi. And she's giving him a bunch of shit like, oh, you're a slacker, you're a bum. He's going to turn this place into a den of slack. Why don't you get a job? And he's like, because I'm too good for that. And like, I'm too smart and blah, 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 blah. And so then what happens is Winona, she's working, she's got like a career in her field. She's working for TV, and that's what she studied. But she loses her job. And now all of a sudden, she's couch surfing, and she's chain smoking cigarettes and watching daytime TV. And her parents are like, well, you're just gonna have to get a job out of your field. And then she's interviewing to, sell burgers. Some great cameos in here. There's Andy Dick is in this movie. I mentioned it to him on a stream, and he's like, yeah, I'm in a ton of movies, blah, blah, blah. So what is it about this movie that's so rewatchable? I'll tell you one thing. I grabbed a DVD that didn't make any of the lists. Suburbia. Who am I looking for here? Is that him? Why do I feel like that's not him? He looks different. Steve Zahn, right? Or is it Steve Zahn? It doesn't say that. I'm pretty sure that's that guy's name. Yeah, him. Steve Zahn. This is a great movie too. I could probably watch this like once a year, Suburbia. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Steve Zahn's in this movie. He's the ultimate 90s bro. If you're depressed, you just imagine Steve Zahn. Dude, what are you doing? Let's go to the bar, man. Oh, I'm so sad. Look at me, I'm you. Oh, I'm so sad. Come on, dude. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's go to the bar. Let's go have fun. What are you doing? He's the bro, dude. And he's a manlet. King of manlets, dude. Funnest, coolest manlet in the world. Oh, dude, I know a guy who's 5'7" and he slays. Steve Zahn. And then just the nostalgia, bro. There's this scene that I thought was so funny. Yeah, the roommate's all angry, and she slams her door, and then she turns on a song. And what song was it? Oh, I would probably remember any time. It was just some song that's like some song that nobody cares about anymore, basically. But they're like at the 7-Eleven getting groceries, getting snacks, and they're dancing to like Rock Lobster and My Sharona. Just cozy vibes, dude. I mean, and it does have a relationship, eventually like these two are, this is like a love triangle thing, but they handle it perfectly. It's like the one movie where the romance doesn't ruin it. But once it starts getting towards the end, I'm like, all right, wrap it up. Yeah. Happy ending, romance ending. This is probably my favorite movie ever. This is probably the most rewatchable on this list. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. One more thing, just the interactions between Ethan Hawke and Ben Stiller. When they first meet, Ben Stiller's like, what is it with you, dude? I feel like there's some like coolness requirement that I don't meet with you. He's like, oh, there's no coolness requirement. There's just an IQ prerequisite. It's like, oh, you see? Oh, like, dude, Ben Stiller handling Ethan Hawke in this is so funny. Great stuff, man. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not smart enough to talk to you. Oh, I'm going to watch all 3 of these movies today, and that's how I'm going to pull this all-nighter. Seriously. This one surprised me. I have only just realized in the last year about this one. I'm going to go ahead and pull this quote up. I was supposed to do this beforehand. Hold on. Hang tenny for your buddy. Yeah, I'll just edit this part out. This is the quote. Yeah, okay. There he goes, one of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind, never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live and too rare to die. That's right. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Ah, yeah, you're a little surprised by that one, huh? But Reformed Stoic, aren't you a Christian? Like, do you do a bunch of drugs? No, I don't do any drugs. I'm completely straight edge at this point. Honestly, not even smoking the cigars or the pipe. That's not been working out for me. Completely straight edge, no drinks, no smoking weed, nothing. Completely nothing. If you ask me, this is like Looney Tunes, dude. This is like an adult Looney Tune. Like, what? You want a piano dropped on your head? You want to get chased around by Wile E. Coyote? I don't endorse the actions of this movie. It does seem like it's a little bit out of character for me to want to watch this all the time, but what can I say, bro? It's entertaining. And yeah, so back to Reality Bites real quick, and then also Lost in Translation, because we're just gonna start finishing on this concept of what makes movies rewatchable. the pacing of Lost in Translation is not like a super epic story. It's kind of got that Seinfeld, like, it's almost about nothing. They're just hanging out in Japan. And then this, a lot of just couch surfing, flipping through channels. They're all just kind of hanging out the whole time. That's the pacing. The pacing can't be like this, because you're not going to want to take that epic journey all the time. So this has insane pacing. So this wouldn't be like this. This would be like this. It, like, the entire time it's insane. Like, what's the opening scene of this? Like, I don't even remember, but lots of drugs, I'm sure. So yeah, this is like off the chain the entire time, but it doesn't build up to being off the chain. It's always off the chain. Quotable, funny. Some of my favorite scenes is like when the elevator door opens and the lawyer's going like this with the knife, holding the knife in the guy's face. Kind of a dark sense of humor, I guess. You know, my sense of humor is all over the place. I can appreciate the kind of humor that's in this movie. Like when the guy who's gonna do the races with them is in the hotel room and he's just like on acid, mumbling, is like, there's some sort of electronic snake. It's going to eat all of us alive. And watching the TV, or no, the guy's standing behind the TV while he's watching a war movie. I needed more of these quotes up. He's like, Yamahas, Fords, and then he looks at him. He's got a cigar. He's dressed like an army man. Nagasaki's, Yamahas, or I don't remember what the hell he said. I'm too tired. But this is just funny, dude. This is just funny. This is an adventure. Dark sense of humor. I think the lawyer guy, the attorney, is really what makes it. That's probably one of my favorite quotes ever, dude. It's worth reading one more time. There he goes. One of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind. Never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live and too rare to die. And when he says that quote, he's got the sunglasses on. He's giving the peace signs and getting on the airplane. I could pretty much just sit here and be like, oh, remember this part, remember that part, remember this part. And then there's some weird, like, you know, adrenochrome. He's like, yeah, man, that's adrenochrome. I got it from a Satanist. It's from a human adrenaline gland. It's like, or a human pituitary gland. It's like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. That's one of those things, like, there's no such thing as adrenochrome, chuds. But it's like, well, why do they talk about it in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? And why do they say it's from a Satanist? Interesting stuff. I mean, this guy, Hunter S. Thompson, he glowed in the dark, bro. He was like, yeah, my homie tells me all about this kind of stuff, like the electric Kool-Aid acid test and these kind of writers that were going on around this time. I'm kind of just screwing up this whole whatever this background is, but Hunter S. Thompson glowed in the dark. He was some sort of an operative. The kind of pieces he was writing, he was glorifying drugs. He's kind of in the realm of like the psychonaut. It's cool to do drugs. It's hip. This is a part of the culture. He was creating culture creation. He's creating culture. He was just kind of a degenerate, you know? And so why is this movie one of the most rewatchable movies ever? Because it's funny. Because it's never boring. And it's just, there's not really like a beginning, a middle, or an end. They're just doing drugs the other time. There's a beginning and an end in this, but then the middle is kind of just bros in the 90s hanging out. I wish I could remember that song that she plays when she slams the door. And then this is just kind of like a couple of depressed people screwing off in Japan, both married, and then they end up having fun with each other. And then they realize, man, like, we're having too much fun and clicking too much, and it's like, it's more than just a fling. So the key to rewatchable movies is it can't have a clear beginning, middle, and an end. Everything kind of just needs to blend into it, and you need to enjoy it the entire time. And it just sets a vibe. Like, it feels like This is like you're chilling in a bar in Tokyo. This is like you're sitting on a couch smoking cigarettes and doobies with all your friends. And this is like a way of life that I do not want to live, but I enjoy watching it. So 35 minutes of most rewatchable movies. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I don't think I would have really been able to do it any better. Maybe I could have like given a little bit more insight on some of the background or stuff. I'm not really that screwed up right now, guys. The Coca-Cola got me through it. This is good. This is the video that I envisioned. I hope you guys enjoy it. I love movies. I definitely recommend you watch every movie on the list if you haven't seen it. But top 3 most rewatchable movies of all time: Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Reality Bites, and Lost in Translation. This is 2001, I think. This is either 2000 or 2001. I just point that out because it's like, hey, these are 90s movies. I love the 90s. 90s kids can't shut up about the 90s. Yeah, this is 2000 or 2001. I've realized over the years that the early 2000s are basically just as nostalgic as the 90s. If you're a 90s kid, maybe even more sometimes. Those are the movies, guys. Check them out. God bless.